announcement of my title, and I've often told people, and I still think it's important to realize, that many great people had no title. And yet there are many people that have great titles that did not do too much with them. So my prayer is that I hope that when I'm introduced in the future, it's more for what I've done than what a title is. I also think it's important to just share a few things with you. So I'll share a few points about things that I hope the facts you don't know, and end with the story of the book, and also be reminded that it's lunchtime, and if I want to make friends, I need to keep this short. For some, I don't know if you know it, but an African-American, Nathaniel Alexander, was the first person to patent folding chairs. So every time you sit on a folding chair, you can thank, as they say, a brother for it. Another thing that may be important is that when you look at the streets, the first street sweeper was actually created in 1896 in New York City with a truck with nothing but brooms by an African-American worker who did not patent that. I would say for a lot of you who go to school, if you major in sociology, one of my graduate degrees is, so it's kind of important to me. The first person who ever created a school of sociology was W.E.B. Du Bois. I also think it's important for people to know this little known fact. Many people know Maya Angelou, but I'm not sure how many know this, that the day that Martin Luther King was killed was her birthday. She stopped celebrating her birthday, and every year she would send roses to Coretta Scott King until she passed in 2006. I think it's also important that we tell some stories about some Clevelanders. This year is the year of the 2012 Olympics. It will be in London. In 1948, a very famous Clevelander and a very modest one won a gold medal. He graduated from East Tech, involved in all this both in this country. His name is Harrison Dillard, and he's one of our living legacies because he's still with us. I'd like to share two quick stories with you about him. One is in 1948, when he won a gold medal. Nobody even predicted that he would make it out of America in the 100-yard dash. He wasn't considered that fast, but not that fast. His feature event was the hurdles. He was considered the best in the world in that event, and he could not even get out of the American trial. He was the last qualifier on the 100-yard dash back when he was 200 yards in America. He made it to the finals of the 100-yard dash and was put in the furthest lane to be made. When the gun went off, the favorites were running in 4 and 5 and 6, close to each other. The person who was in the middle crossed the line and knew he had a gold medal. What he didn't know was the late 8th lane, Harrison Dillard won the gold medal. The other story I have to tell you is actually a story of modesty in history. About 6 years ago, a neighbor of his read the paper and read of how he won gold medals in 1948 and 1952. And the neighbor had lived next door to him for over 20 years. He never knew that he was a gold medal winner. When he asked Harrison Dillard about it, he said something that I think is important for everyone. In a very modest tone, he said, "You're a gold medal Olympian, why did you tell me?" In a modest tone, he just said, "The record speaks for itself." I hope as we live, we realize that the most important is the record. When you talk about Rosa Parks never held a title, never held an election office. I'm also reminded daily of two quotes that I try to live by. I can't guarantee I do because I have my failures. But I try to live by one quote, and I don't know the author, but it always says that you should never look down on somebody unless you're extending a hand to help. I also am moved by a very important quote by a person who says the most important question the world can ask is, why is a child crying? The author of that quote is a woman named Alice Walker, who's written many books. I think as we look today to our past, we need to realize that we need to build a foundation for our future. I appreciate everybody who's here. I applaud everybody who's here. I'm glad it's warm. And I was told to keep this to 2 to 3 minutes so people could eat, so I hope I did that. Thank you.